What is up, guys? Welcome back to the $1 Million Challenge, where I start off with $1 and try to get to $1 million by getting 1% profit every single day. Today, I invested my first $1,000 within this challenge. So our bankroll's a little bit over $5,000 right now total. We're going to show everything else later, but I want to go into the portfolio right away. If you're new here, I run this challenge. Like I said, I'm trying to get to $1 million by just using none of my own money, and we worked up a big bankroll up to like $5,000 through gambling, getting bonuses, and I finally invested $1,000. So I'm going to talk about this relatively quickly before I hop into some gameplay and do our typical 1% profit per day. I wrote down a bunch of notes for this, and I'm going to try to keep it pretty light. I work in finance. If you're not familiar with me, I talk about it in the Discord a lot, and I think some of the community members might know that, but I work in financial planning, and I've been investing since I was like 18 years old. So I have a pretty decent background when it comes to investments. But I was going to originally make this and like break down everything, like go from the ground up, talk about stocks, investing, how everything works. I'm going to keep it pretty light. I'm not going to do that really. This isn't like my typical type of content, but I built this out with intention. Okay. So we put $1,000 in, and the name of the portfolio is Incrementum, which is Latin for growth. I thought that was pretty cool. Just want to say that. I don't know, something different. But you get to name your portfolio. We're in M1 Finance, okay? I should specify that. We're in M1 Finance. You can see I put $1,000 in here. And if you watch the previous videos, I had $840 in USDC. I showed that before. In the last episode, I showed me pulling $160 from one of our gambling accounts to get to a total of $1,000, which for proof here, you can see that I invested a total of $1,000. That was a deposit back on February 24th. And we had 7 buys. I'm going to walk through those 7 buys. So to keep it pretty simple, M1 Finance is my favorite investment platform for one major reason. You can set up your allocation targets for each holding in your portfolio. So I said mainly, I guess 3 of them are 20%, and then the other 4 are 10%. So it adds up to 100%. Anytime you add money to the account, or if you get any dividends, that money gets reinvested equally back into where your targets should be. So for example, if I put like $100 in here right now, it would diversify that $100 automatically into the holdings to try to balance them back out to the target allocation. So these ones on the bottom here that are a little bit below 10%, most of that $100 would be invested into these, which is a good method since you're buying lower. You're buying the lower price of that holding. Since it's going down, it's like lost value. Or if the other ones go up in value, you're still buying like the lower valued holdings in your portfolio, which is like the smart method. You're always buying the best price. That's why I like this platform a lot. Most other platforms, when it comes to brokerage accounts, you have to like manually buy or like decide where you're putting that money into what funds. So this is why I like M1 Finance a lot. It kind of takes out of that extra work. You just set it up once and then you're kind of good, unless you want to change things in the future, of course. But that's why I like this platform the most. It's super simple. It's very kind of automated. If you get dividends, it will just reinvest them back the same way. It will just put them into the funds that are down the most. So I built this out. Like I said, we got 7 holdings. These are all ETFs. Okay, so an ETF is basically just like a fund that holds it stands for exchange traded fund, but it's basically just a fund of stocks or companies. So instead of investing in like Tesla and then investing in Amazon and then investing in Schwab and then investing in Vanguard, well, I guess you can't. Instead of investing in all these companies, right? These funds will hold anywhere from like 10 to 500 companies. So they're already diversified. A lot of the legwork's kind of done within those as well. It's kind of an easier approach because you don't have to manage your stocks. You don't have to watch your stocks every single day, keep an eye on these companies, do all this technical research to buy a good company. You can just invest in a fund that does all that work for you. And then, the fund typically isn't as volatile as a stock. So it's a little bit safer, but there's a ton of different funds. There's safe ones, there's aggressive ones, there's dividend ETFs, there's growth ETFs. It gets really complicated. I can make this very complicated, but I'm gonna keep it pretty light. So we picked 7 holdings. I want to clarify too. This portfolio is not meant for the 1% daily profit that I do. This isn't necessarily trying to accomplish daily growth, right? With investing, that's pretty much impossible unless you like day trade, which I don't consider that investing. I think that's more gambling. I don't really believe in day trading. I know a lot of people do, but if you were really good at day trading, you wouldn't be sharing your stuff online. I'll say that. You'd be working for a way better company, making way more money than most people. Either way, the goal is to have this money cashed out from all of our gambling, all of our bonuses, sports betting. We're going to take our profits, and instead of just having them sit in those accounts, sit in cash, we're going to move them to this account and have it grow slowly in the background instead of just sitting there doing nothing, right? So this is kind of like our retirement fund of our entire challenge. It's kind of like our lock in the profits. We'll touch the stuff later. Hopefully this grows over the next couple of years and we'll make some money in the background. But this isn't like aggressive growth in the pursuit of 1% profit a day. When it comes to investing, these are very aggressive funds for the typical investor. So I will admit that. And as always, I want to clarify before I get into anything else, none of this is financial advice. This is just purely educational. I'm giving you my thoughts on the things I'm doing. This is not advice. I don't suggest you do any of this. This is just me talking out loud, showing you what I'm doing. But yeah, when it comes to investing, there's three really big factors. There's a lot of factors, obviously, but the three biggest ones that I always consider personally are your age, your time horizon. So like, what's the length of this account? How long is this account going to be around for? It kind of ties into the next thing. What's the goal of the account? So the goal typically has a time frame on it. And then the final piece is the risk tolerance. So how much risk you're willing to take. Can you lose this money? Do you need this money 100%? And those things all kind of combine. So for example, if you were like saving for a car to purchase in the next like year or two, you're probably going to have a way safer investment account than something like this. That's more for fun. If I lose all this, I'm not going to be wiped out financially. It's not going to change my picture because this isn't even like my money. This is all money I've been earning from this challenge. So if I lose all this, it's not the end of the world for me. It's kind of like a fun little project, okay? So these are very aggressive, and I typically would do something myself, like my personal investments. So that's pretty much like the high overview of the background. Now let's get into the actual holdings. Real briefly, I just went for a little bit of diversification from different areas, and we tried to balance this out a little bit. I did a little bit more into these top three here because these are ones I like more, a little bit more aggressive, and then we have a way safer one too. So let's break these down. The first one here is SCHD, which is a Schwab US dividend ETF. This is a really popular ETF in the dividend space on the internet. I'm sure if you've ever done any research on the internet, you've probably seen SCHD. This is kind of like our super conservative portion of the portfolio that's going to pay out dividends. And right now it's only at 20%, but the way I'm thinking about this, I want to set this up now because when the portfolio is like a $50,000 or $100,000, we're going to put more money into this because that's like really locking in your profits. It's going to have less volatility going up and down. It's going to pay out dividends. So those dividends will pay out and then you'll put them back in the ETF. And then the next year you'll have a bigger holding, bigger portfolio because you have those dividends added. So then you get more dividends the next year. And then you add those back, and then it kind of snowballs and compounds. That's the whole idea of this ETF, typically with most people, and that's kind of my idea with it too. So this is like our super long-term, safest part of the portfolio. The next one we have here is QQQ, and this is a large growth ETF. So this is one of my personal favorite growth ETFs. It's a large cap ETF, so it's like more established companies, and this is our more aggressive approach, but it's still like on the safer side of the growth aspect. It's not extremely risky. The risk is worth the reward for it, let's put it that way, without getting too technical with it. Next one here is our last 20% holding. This is a Vanguard Information Technology ETF, VGT. So VGT is obviously very tech heavy because it's an information technology ETF. That's the sector it's focused on, and it's mainly large growth companies. So it's, large growth, kind of like the QQQ we just talked about, but this one's specifically in information technology. So it's going to be heavily reliant on how technology does in the next couple of years, which again is very aggressive because people keep saying we're in a bubble with AI and stuff. So who knows? But this is again our very aggressive play. So we have like two pretty aggressive plays there, and then like a really safe play. We'll compare to the other two for our biggest holdings. Then these next four are all 10% of the portfolio, so a little bit less segments, less pieces of the pie, smaller pieces of the pie. But the next one we have is a small cap growth ETF, VIOG, and then we have a mid cap one. So these two are mainly growth. Then we have these two are mainly large cap growth. Then we have a small cap growth and a mid cap value. I didn't do mid cap growth. So small cap, smaller companies, mid cap, middle of the range companies, kind of like a little bit more established, but still a lot of growing opportunity. But yeah, small cap's definitely more aggressive. And then the last two here are more sector ETFs. So XBI is biotech. So yeah, we have the information technology. I think biotech's probably more aggressive in my opinion because you're like technology, but specifically like medical, right? Biotech. So it's a little bit of an aggressive play. It's going to go probably a lot more volatile than the other ones. And the last one is a semiconductor ETF. Again, a little bit more specific, but semiconductors are a little bit, in right now, to say the least. So yeah, these specific sector ETFs are definitely on the aggressive side. Those three, between the information technology, the biotech, and the semiconductors, those are like our super aggressive plays. I was thinking about doing some stocks, like individual stocks and stuff. But like I said, I'm not really trying to be here and like manage this portfolio. This is just more to be in the background of our whole challenge and kind of run with that. That's pretty much it. Like I said, I had way more to talk about. I made a like 30 to 40 minute video literally just explaining this portfolio, how investments work, why I'm doing all this stuff, but I really don't want to get like super into it. Like I don't want to spend 40 minutes doing this. But this chart right here is exactly a good indicator of like what our portfolio is meant to do. So I've only had this portfolio open for about a week now, and you can see this blue line here is our portfolio, the incrementum. That's what I named it, right? Then the green and red line are the benchmarks. So like that's tracking what the benchmark is. So like what the typical market is relative to our portfolio, not like the S&P 500, but kind of like where we should be, right? So the whole idea with my portfolio is to be more aggressive than that. And you can see the blue line here is more aggressive. So the past week, as the green and red benchmark here have gone up, the blue line's been above it. The blue line's done better than the benchmark. That's exactly what I'm going for. More aggressive. So when the market moves, we're going to move more aggressive up. At the same time, when the market goes down, as you can see, it's trending down here a little bit. The blue line is our portfolio, and we went down more than the benchmark. And then you can see, even here, it's still going down, but we're starting to come back up. So yeah, that's what I mean by volatility. When the market's doing this, we're going to be doing this, like a little bit crazier. But the idea is to capture the higher gains. And then over time, I'll probably reallocate the portfolio and make it a little bit safer. If we can get to like $50,000, $100,000, $250,000, I'm not going to be super aggressive. We're going to definitely pull back and be in some safer things. But when you're younger, like I was talking about the three biggest factors. When you're younger, you have less money to work with. It's not as detrimental if you lose everything. You want to be more aggressive typically. That's how I operate, because you want to get that growth off the beginning. You want to take that extra risk while you're young, like people say. And this whole challenge and this whole portfolio is super young. So I'm taking more aggressive now with the idea of pulling back. And as I'm closer to retirement of the challenge, that's how I'm doing my financial planning, like mixing in with my challenge here. As I get closer to retirement and cashing out my $1 million, we're going to pull back, safer investments, prepare for retirement, lock in everything. And that's kind of the idea. So that's enough of the portfolio. Hope that all makes sense. I'm sure there'll be a ton of questions. I'll answer anything in the comments and follow up in the future in video if I have to. But for now, yeah, we're just going to let that sit and ride, and we'll probably add money to it here and there if we make some profits. But yeah, let's hop into some gameplay. All right, before we hop into some gameplay, I do want to show a couple changes and bonuses since the last episode. This first one here is I just moved $83 from PokerStars to DraftKings because our DraftKings account was super low, so I just want to move that money over, kind of balance out the accounts just so we have some money ready to do some sports betting. This next one here is another mess up that I did, and again, it worked out good. Every mess up I've made in the past month has turned out amazing. This is on Fanatics, and I had 20-cent bonus spins. I had like three spins or 6 spins I got from a daily free spin wheel. It gave me some free spins on this Huff and Puff game. But I went into the game and I literally did, I think, 1 or 2 spins without realizing I wasn't in like the free spins mode, and it was on a $2 bet. I guess you can't see that because let me try to move this up. Yeah, I don't know why it's like that actually. Alright, that's a little bit better. So you can see there's a $2 bet here. I didn't realize that I wasn't on free spins mode, and I was just spending my own money, so I was on a $2 bet size instead of a 20-cent bet size. But we got into a bonus game like immediately, and it's pretty big bet size relative to where we were supposed to be for the free spins. But yeah, landed into a crazy bonus game, and it pays out pretty darn good here. This is obviously sped up just because it took like 3 minutes or so, but I sped it up a lot faster. So we cashed out pretty good on a $2 base bet, landed in some bonus game there, got $256 because I messed up and realized I wasn't actually in the free spin mode. And here it is. I logged out of the game and logged back in, and here's our free rounds on just 3 spins on 20 cents. That's what I was trying to do, but when you log into the game, it just immediately has a $2 base bet as the default, and I just started spinning without seeing this pop up. So that worked out really good, and we needed that big time after getting some losses recently. So I'm glad I recorded that though, because I realized it was a $2 bet right when I got into that bonus, and I'm glad you guys could see that and I recorded it so you weren't like, why is there $256 and then you have to just take my word for it. But yeah, crazy mistake, worked out really good. And then finally, we have our sports bets. This is back from February 25th, 2026. We had 4 sports bets for the day. Really, it was like 3 sports bets because the FanDuel ones, I could only use the bonus bet up to $5, and I had to place like the rest of the bet with my own money. So it's the same bet, but I just placed it like 2 separate slips. It was a pretty good day. We made some good profit sports betting. I track volume bets on Instagram. There's a link to his page in my Discord server if you want to tail him, but I just tail off his bets, so he takes all the credit. But yeah, it was a good day sports betting. So that's it for the day. All right, so for day 407, we're sitting at $5,437. And again, we had some good sports betting. Crypto went up. Our Bitcoin and XRP went up. Our investment account went up like $6, not a ton at this point. I mean, yeah, the sports bets, we had $3 in bonuses. So with all that said, we had that 200 in right here you can see on Fanatics, we had that $256 gain on there. So overall, if we just drag down these balances that we played the day, you can see we got 8% in profit for the day, mainly because of that big Fanatics mess up. But yeah, we don't need to gamble today. That's a huge comeback after getting some losses recently, so it feels pretty darn good. So we can move on to the next day here, which is day 408. And we only had 1 sports bet for the day. It was a $10 bet on DraftKings, and it lost. So not terrible, especially after a good day yesterday, but that's our only bet for the day. So for the rest of the day, for day 408, we had $1.30 in bonuses for the entire day. And then we lost that 1 sports bet. Crypto went down about $43, and then our investment account went down like $8. So we actually did go down a good bit for the day there. And then our balance is at $5,378, which makes our 1% profit goal about $54. Our 4% stop loss would be $215. That means we need to get $114 to reach our 1% profit goal in the day. Since we're down a little bit already, we need to get a little bit extra. It's pretty much 2% on the bankroll for the day to come back and get our 1% profit goal. So we're gonna hop on the website and see if we can get $114. All right, so this is pretty much leaving off from last episode. I just vaulted our profits, so we go back to our 4% stop loss in our playable balance. This is exactly where we left off last time, so I'm going to reset the live stats here. And we're going to start with a 60-cent bet. And we're going for 114 bucks. So, might be a little bit more difficult than usual. I don't know if we'll be running this the entire day, but this is our old reliable, man. I had a ton of comments talking about I'm always like 2 videos back when it comes to like referencing everyone's thoughts and opinions from the videos previously, because I record these ahead of time and then have to like catch up. Well, I guess the way I record, they get posted later and stuff. So I'm always referencing like 2 videos back. But even on the last, I guess 2 videos ago, everyone was pretty much in agreement that I shouldn't change up things and try to be entertaining per se. I should just do what works. That's exactly what I talked about in the last episode, which I didn't see that until I already recorded that previous one. So it's good to know that people are in agreement with that, and I'm gonna keep ripping it, man. Like I said, I know this isn't super entertaining, but it works, and we're gonna keep rocking with it. So that's the plan for today. We're gonna be running this strategy for a little bit. Look at that, we already got some profit, and we're gonna see if we can make some good profit today. 114 bucks is a lot, but I think it's possible. It's only 2% really, so we're going for like, 2 days of effort in 1 day of gameplay. So it's definitely possible, but it's not guaranteed, we'll say that. Let's bring this back down to 60 cents. I think once I get to 10 bucks, all right, there we go. We just got 4x. We'll do one more time on 60 cents. I think I might drop this back down to 50 cents though. All right, there's a 4x again. Let's go to 50 cents just so we give ourselves some working room if we go on a crazy loss streak. And I feel like we're bound to hit a crazy loss streak with the profit pool being so high today. And the 50 cents, honestly, for my brain are way easier to go through because I just have to add 50 cents each time instead of trying to do math and add up 60 cents. So we're gonna rock with that for a little bit. I guess what I could do too is when I'm running this strategy, I know sometimes I get like super locked in and don't talk too much because I feel like usually when I talk on this strategy, I end up making some mistakes. But I was thinking too, I probably could just like rip this strategy on camera and speed it up. Just kind of play some music in the background for you guys. That's always an option too. So I could make, a 20-minute session, probably like 2 or 3 minutes if I just sped it up. I'm already losing track of where I'm at. I think we're good though. That's always an idea. Always down for some suggestions. I'm not always gonna take them into account and actually use them, but I do. Well, I guess I do take them into account, but I'm not always gonna use the suggestions. But I definitely try to do what the majority of people comment or say I should try, things I should do. Except with the investment account though. I will admit, dude, the investment account, you can look all over the internet. That's why I was talking about those different factors when it comes to like picking your personal investments. It's all kind of preference really. I mean, yeah, there's like technically right or wrong. If anyone knew anything though, they would be multi-billionaires if everyone knew exactly what was the best investment to choose. So, don't listen to everyone on the internet say that. Do what you feel is best. Do your own research. As with anything, any decision you make, not just in investment accounts, but again, not financial advice. That's just my personal preference. So luckily I did drop the bet size down to 50 cents here because we're starting to go on a crazy dip and it's not looking too hot. There's a 3x. Let's drop this down to like 12 bucks. There's a 2x. Kind of do 11.50. There's a 3x. We'll go down to like 12 bucks. There's another 3x. All right, let's go down to like 10.50. 2x. Got 10 bucks. We need these wins here. Look at that, another 3x. All right, that's massive. Let's go down to like 8.50. We're only down 50 bucks here. There we go. If we can just get a couple more wins like that, help us out a lot. Okay. $10.50. All right, starting to go on a loss streak again. $11.50. 12 bucks. There's a 3x. Go back to 11. 12 bucks again. That hits. We get a little 2x there. We'll go back to 11.50. Yeah, a couple more bets left here, and then we're probably gonna bust. There's a 3x. We'll go back down to 12 bucks. 12.50. Hitting that 50x right now would be insane. Like a $12 bet size. Could you imagine that? That would be bananas. All right. It's keeping us in there a little bit. Every time we get super low, kind of brings us back, but we need more momentum than that. We can't just do a couple wins. There we go. There we go. We need like a 5x. Something a little bit bigger. Something a little bit bigger than a 2x. Oh boy. Yeah, we got a few more bets now. Probably like 2 more bets. There's a 2x, $14 bet. Oh. All right. This is our last bet here. We're gonna go all in on a $14.94 bet. $14.94, and we lose. So we just busted. It's frustrating, but we already had a good day. I guess that money we just got from Fanatics just got wiped back out, so we're pretty much flat. Went to the sheet, move on to the next day. All right, so day 408 was a loss. We lost $216 gambling for the day, so we went down 5% total on the day. Yeah, not the best, but you know, gotta keep it pushing. I think it's literally the first time I did bust on that strategy though, doing the down bear where I decrease, you know, if we hit a 3, 4x, 5x, I decrease more than like 1 unit. I think it's the first time I actually bust on that. So that strategy alone, we were definitely still in profit on that, which is insane. I mean, the one time I did bust on diamonds, I did change the strategy. It was just decreasing 1 unit, even on like a big win. But I even looked at the stats, and we were a little bit lower than like what we should be for like 150 bets. It's like a 65% loss rate, I think, 60%, and we were a little bit above that. So we did have like a pretty bad ratio all in all, but it was still pretty close. But it's bound to happen when the win chance is not 50-50. But you know, it's all right. It happens, man. That's gambling. That's why I always say don't gamble. But we're gonna push on to day 409 here. We do have some sports bets for the day. We only had 2, so we profited I think like $2 on the entire day here. This is back from February 27th, 2026. So there's our sports bets there, and then other movement. We had $8 in bonuses for the day. Our investment account went down a little bit. Crypto went down a little bit as well, a little bit more. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're sitting at $5,120. So 1% profit goal should be about $51. Our 4% stop loss should be like 205. And since we already went down a little bit, we need to get a little bit extra. So we need to get $94 for the day. Also, I wanted to say I'm not showing any bonuses that are under $10 at this point. It used to be $5 for a really long time, but $5 at this point is like 0.1% of our bankroll. So I figure it's not really that significant. Anything over $10 I'll show on camera going forward, just to let you guys know. It'll save me a lot of effort and stuff. And I think anything above $10 is more significant at this rate. But yeah, we're gonna hop into the game. We're gonna hop into the website and do some gameplay and see if we can make $94 in profit. All right, so we got $121 in the vault, and I pulled out $205 as our 4% stop loss. So we're running pretty tight, guys. We're running pretty tight in the website balance. We'll see if we need to pull money over. So we need to get a win today. Let's get started. I'm gonna try to get like $10 in profit on this, and then I'm gonna play some different games. Really don't have a super tight game plan. I'm gonna kind of freestyle it just based on how I'm feeling. But we're gonna try to run this up to $10 to get started here, and then I know the next game we're gonna go into, we can make it past that. So something a little bit different. All right. It's funny to see too, like all those big wins right after we just busted, you know? Hate to see that. If we could have just held on for like a couple more bets, we would have probably came back a little bit. But we were still down pretty bad, so I'm not gonna assume we would have came back fully. But yeah, we'll try to get $10 here. See how this goes. Yeah, we're starting to get a lot of losses again, so I don't know if we would have actually recovered from that. Probably not. Which kind of feels good in a way, you know? But there was a very slim chance we would have came back. If we would have hit like a 50x right after that on like a 50-cent bet, oh, I'd be pretty mad. Be pretty mad. All right, so we got another loss. I think we're up to 350. Try to focus here. Nice little loss streak starting. There we go. It's a pretty good win. We're down to like 250. Okay. Ooh, almost did a $32 bet. Okay. I was trying to think of some like different strategies. The ones I used to play a lot, I feel like they're pretty. I mean, I haven't done them like a huge balance size, but I remember like when I first did this challenge, man, I would do like 1% bets. I'd be betting like $50 per bet if I was still doing that. I don't know if I feel comfortable doing that right now, especially in original games. I would do like a 1% bet on dice, 50-50 and stuff. It was pretty wild. I did go back at some point, probably like halfway through the challenge ago, like maybe day 200 or something, where I did go back and try to like repeat all my old strategies from the very beginning of the challenge, because I was cooking, and I don't think I did as well as the first time through. So that's why I haven't went back and done those. But I would literally hop on and play like, I'd place like 3 or 4 bets. It was like super fast. And I guess there's kind of a method behind that too. As I always used to say, technically the less bets you place in, the better, because the longer you gamble, the more of a chance you have of hitting those loss streaks that end up busting. As you can see from kind of how this is going. Alright, some good wins there. There's a 3x, that's sick. We needed that big time. We'll go down to like 450, another 3x. All right, let's go down to like 150, 250. Try to get this to $10 in profit. Not asking for too much there, I feel like, you know? Okay. It's kind of weird too. I feel like a lot of times in this challenge, I go in these like, I guess there's like probably a good way of putting it. I have like chapters of this whole challenge where there's just like for 2 months I'm running like the same strategy, it feels like, or same couple of strategies. Advice, like I don't know, every like couple months I'll just get locked into like a game or a strategy, and then eventually I just either get burned out on it or it starts losing a bunch and I'm just done with it. I feel like we're kind of hitting that point maybe where it's time to change it up again. We'll see though. I used to do a ton of research too outside of the challenge. My free time. I haven't had like a ton of free time to really do that though. I would watch a ton of videos on YouTube and watch like other people explain strategies. I'm not saying like entertaining content, like actual like people breaking down math, and very not really popular videos. They were like more like educational videos. There's a 4x on an $8 bet. That's really good. Yeah, I haven't done that in a while. And then, yeah, somebody suggested recently to use AI. I used to use AI in the beginning, and I'm not a huge fan of it. You have to kind of like really guide it to where you want it to do for you when it comes to like strategies or explaining the math. We'll see. Maybe I'll do something. There's been a few suggestions recently. There's a 4x. All right, we got $10 in profit. We got $11 in profit. We're gonna pop into a different game and try to get the 80 bucks somewhere else. Just only 80 bucks. All right, so we're on originals blackjack, and I think I'm gonna be a little bit aggressive on here. Like I was just talking about doing some bigger bet sizes. I'm gonna try a $15 bet. Probably gonna regret this, honestly. Yeah, I'm probably gonna regret this. I'm gonna try a flat bet though, and not get super. I'm not gonna try to double up and stuff. Okay, all right. This is all right. Come on, man. Don't do this to me like this. No way. Oh my gosh, just disrespectful. Just completely disrespect. Gotta hit that 15. All right, 19's not terrible. All right, there's a win right there. We're gonna try to flat bet this for a little bit. Okay, we're gonna try to. I don't know if it's gonna work out. Terrible hands. Gotta hit the 16. Yeah. This is bad. Wow, dude, this is crazy. Gotta hit the 13. Gotta hit the 16. Not even a chance. Not even a chance, man. 12 against a 6. Sustain. Okay. Oh my, what's up with these aces? Gotta hit the 13. Alright, we got a 20. Not bad, not bad. Alright, we're 8 losses on blackjack. Gotta hit the 12. Okay, that's a good pull. That's a really good pull. 20. Alright, we got a 17. There's a blackjack. Nice. Nice. Alright, back-to-back blackjacks. That brings us back to break even on originals blackjack here. Oh man. Okay, that's a crazy pull. That's great. All right, we're getting a little bit lucky now. The luck has shifted. I'm gonna try to get one more win. Get $30 in profit. Okay. Is it a back-to-back push? Another blackjack. Oh my gosh. Okay, that's crazy. That is crazy. Whew. We're up to $48 in profit. Let's hop into a different game. All right, we're on crash, and we're going right off rip. We're doing all-in bets on a 1.03x, and I'm just gonna carry over the winnings each time we win and see if we can get some profit. So that's $7.60 on that. I think from here, if we get like about $7 per win, we should need like four more wins. So we're hoping to hit a 1.03 4 more times. That's super risky. I've done this before. I used to do this a lot where I would just run crash the entire day. I think it would take like anywhere from 12 to like 18 bets maybe. But as long as we don't hit a 1.02 or lower. Okay. It's so, like, you just hold your breath each time, man. What do we profit there? Yeah, it's like another $8. All right, let's do an all-in again. 1.03. I mean, eventually it's gonna hit a 1.01x. So it's very risky. Okay. Okay. We'll do one more. We'll do one more. And then if we can make it through this one, I might pull out. Okay. We're like $10 away. What do we need? 94. We need $94. Oh my gosh. Let's do one more. Do one more. I mean, these all have been... I remember when I used to do this way back in the day, I would like to see like a 1.0x, just like a complete crash before like hopping in and actually placing the bets. Just to have that little... I know each game is independent. Like each bet is independent of the previous ones. But there's like that psychological, man. You just see a 10x there. Like this one might crash. $285 bet. Okay, that hits. That hits. We are like $5 away. So I'm gonna try to get that in one more different game, and hopefully we'll end the day in some profit. All right, so we need $4 or $5. So we're gonna do mines. We have 4 mines on the board, and I'm gonna pick random. We're gonna go for, I think it's 4 clicks. Yeah, it's a 2x. We're gonna cash that out, and we need not even. Let's do a $2 bet here. We need like, yeah, with $2.20. All right, we had a bomb right away. I'm gonna double this up. One more click. This should do it. Should do it. $94. Ooh, that original's blackjack was scary, but we came through. We came through. Another day profit. We're gonna add that to the sheet and wrap up the video. Day 409 was a win. We got our 1% profit goal, and we got $94, almost $95 from the website there. So yeah, pretty good day. Over on the video, we did go down. Let's do some quick math here. Went down $222 just from getting the first day. We didn't gamble because we had, you know, a big bonus. Well, I guess it was only a bonus, just kind of slip up on Fanatics. But we got a lot of profit there. So we started the video off pretty hot with $5,400 in the bankroll. And then we got that second day we lost. So we pretty much just lost. And we went up 8%. Then we went down 5%. Then we got a win on the last day there. So yeah, we went down $222 overall. Gambling today though, we went down a total of $121. And then, I mean, I'm kind of confused by that. I guess we profited 4% gambling, or no. The bankroll's up 4%, but yet between these 3 days, I'm so confused by that. Because the bankroll is clearly down. Yeah, I don't know. I just can't think that through right now. Why it's showing that. Because this changes. This is basically the entire bankroll. Gambling, we lost money. But yeah, I don't know. We lost money today. I don't know. My brain's not working. We had a total of $11 in bonuses, And yeah, we're still pretty much behind the tracker. I just can't, my brain cannot wrap around that. We went up big with the bonuses on Fanatics. We lost 215. I guess we lost a lot of money sports betting that day too, though. So it did bring the balance down more. Even going into that, yeah, we were down like what, $60 before even going into that day. Then we lost another 215, so we're down like 270. So yeah, we did lose more than that amount from Fanatics. We went down again after that. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. We dropped each day, and then we also had a loss. Okay, but I don't know why this is saying we should have went up 4% on the bankroll. Yeah. Either way, we lost money today. And yeah, not terrible though. I mean, we're still above $5,000. We still have money in the bankroll on the website that we use to have probably like 2 more days stop loss. So that's good. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I guess I could show you guys our, so yeah, we're a little bit below the tracker again, as you can see. We're starting to fall a little bit behind it, having this very volatile part in the bankroll here. But yeah, I guess it's a good point to say too, like even these big dips in times like this, it's like, yeah, you shoot up, you have this big drop, shoot back up, another drop. It looks big, but it's all like relative, because I feel like these sizes of movements were like similar back here and stuff, but now that the bankroll is bigger, like these look so much smaller, these like all these dips and stuff. So like hopefully when we're up to like $10,000, this is just like a little bump. You won't even notice that in the grand scheme of things. So it looks big right now, but it's always 4%. That's the way you gotta think about it. So this is smoothing out as we zoom out from those, as the balance gets bigger, the graph's kind of zooming out. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, it's not terrible. We've been well below the tracker before. Again, it doesn't look like we were that far behind it, but at the time we looked like we were so far behind the tracker. That's, how this is kind of working out too. But hope you guys did enjoy. You have any thoughts or suggestions, leave them in the comments below. Subscribe, like the video. Don't gamble. Again, none of this is financial advice in this video. I don't suggest you try anything I do. This is all just for entertainment. I just do this for fun. This is none of my own money. This is all bonus money and gambling money. None of my money is involved in this, so this isn't something I would recommend you try. This is just something I'm trying for fun, little project. But yeah, until the next video, take care of yourself, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, peace.